Sunday, September 10th at 8:40 a.m. on Maui, Hawaii. And we are currently in a new transit, gate 47 in the sun and gate 22 in the earth. And we missed, or we at least missed the transit of line 6 in 64 and line 6 in 63. So I'm going to read those real quick. So to complete line 6 on gate 64, we have victory, which is the mental assuredness that new victory was inevitable, thus making triumph sweet but not reason for excess. The mental gift of enjoying the confusion in its diversity of data. Detriment was like the story of the Trojan horse. It can be dangerous to get carried away in celebration, lest one loses vigilance and perspective. With all diversity of data, easy to lose perspective. So that was yesterday. 63.6 is nostalgia, which in the exaltation is the good sense to avoid turning the previous struggle into an obsession, the logic of leaving old doubts behind. And detriment is revolutionary nostalgia, illogic, and the potential obsession with old suspicion and doubt. That was yesterday. Those were both in the head. And now today, we're in gate 47 in the sun, first line. And that first line is taking stock. So 47 is in the ajna, and it's reaching up towards 63. So the doubt, the one that I just read, this is the pairing gate, or this is the harmonic gate to it. And gate 47 is oppression or realization, which is a restrictive and adverse state as a result of internal weakness or external strength, or both. So in its first line, we have taking stock. It's the ability in times of hardship to concentrating on eradicating the negative factors that have led to oppression, realizing that negative thoughts have to be eradicated. Detriment is the delusion of seeing oppression as an exclusively external phenomenon with often disastrous results, the sense that the world is out to get you. So this is taking inventory of the places that you feel like a victim in your life, or where you feel like, something has been done to you and you're not able to see what it is that you contributed, whether it was staying where you are, moving from where you were at, antagonizing someone, not antagonizing someone, standing up for yourself, not standing up for yourself. There's plenty of different ways that this how you say, sense that the world is against you, this victim mentality is going to take hold. And the mind is really good at this. It takes a very disciplined mind not to slip into victim mentality. And it's because that's the mind's job, is to witness the oppression, is to witness and realize the oppression. At least a part of it, gate 47 is that. And so line 1 is taking stock. So for the next 3-4 hours, take stock, right? Understand that you're either going to realize that you've got negative thoughts that need to be eliminated, or you're going to sense that the world is against you, right? That's gate 47. So that's our strongest influence today. And then, as always, I like to do the earth, because the earth is important too. And I have these gates, by the way, but they're flip-flopped. So my sun is in gate 22 and my earth is in gate 47. And gate 22 is grace and openness, a quality of behavior best suited in handling mundane and trivial situations. Line 1 is the second-class ticket. Exaltation, the ability to accept and enjoy a subordinate position, the emotional awareness to enjoy a subordinate position. And the detriment is the inevitable humiliation that comes with claiming a first-class seat with a second-class ticket, where the emotional energy challenges the awareness and can result in humiliation socially. I've had a lot of, I guess, internal conflict with this gate in particular, like gate 22 being a quality of behavior best suited for handling mundane and trivial situations, because there's part of me that wants to shoot the 3-pointer, that wants to shoot the half-court shot, that wants to pull off the, the miracle move, which it happens. But I find that it happens more often when I'm just like in my cruising state, in my cruise mode, which is, as a reflector, is very cruisy, very, very cruisy. So, and it's taken me a while to get here. But really what it is it's detaching the emotional awareness from the motorized energy. So again, in the detriment, we have the emotional energy that challenges the awareness and can result in humiliation socially, which, I think pretty early on I learned I can't, or I don't really have energy to assert my position. If someone wants to put me in a position of power, that's a much better move for me to wait for that person to do that rather than try and put myself there. And and I do have the cross of rulership too, which is like there's a lot of me that's designed to like be in rulership positions. And so, like for instance, one of the things that I make, I feel like in terms of a second class ticket, even though my gate here is in the third line, which is the enchanter, which is perfected grace. This first line is still part of my hexagram. It's part of this gene, and really embracing that, the mundane and trivial stuff. Like I used to chase a lot of shiny stuff, and now I don't. And there's still sometimes the urge to chase it, but there's the how you say, the awareness that that kind of stuff just like appears and shows up for me the more I'm able to kind of sit in my grace and in my openness. A lot of that stuff just comes to me now, and I have to work a lot uh less. I don't have to work as hard to make that happen. And so, with this one again, is it's really about emotional awareness and watching what the energy wants to do. So, in this part of the cup that is holding that 47, right, is this ability to like pay attention to the mundane, pay attention to the trivial, not as if that's the most important thing, but really embracing the mundane and trivial tasks in your life that allow you to move freely. Or maybe even, if you're in the detriment of it, asking yourself, where do I feel embarrassed, or where do I feel socially humiliated, right? Um, Same thing in the previous gate that I just read, in gate 47, asking yourself, where do I feel like I'm the victim? Where do I feel like stuff is happening to me? And it's good to explore the exaltation and the detriment of these gates, because naturally is like, if you just explore the exaltation, if you just explore like the good side and the light side, you're vulnerable to the ways that you are a villain in your life. And I've said this before about being a villain, is like I'm constantly asking myself that, like, where am I showing up as the villain in my life? Because that person is there, that villain inside me is there. um, if I choose not to notice them, that's kind of like there being a snake in the room, me turning off the lights in the room and pretending that the snake has disappeared because I've turned the lights off, which naturally is kind of ridiculous. And so, important pieces to think about with this transit, as we've gone from head pressure, doubt and confusion, now into grace and openness, and oppression and realization. So it's sun heavy, still in the ajna, still in the mind, but it's not pressurized anymore. And let me know if you guys feel that. Like, do you feel like some of the pressure around the future and the past has subsided since we've moved into the transits? And be honest, please. Like, this is not about validating human design. This is about using human design as a common ground and a common language um, to experience our own lives and then share those experiences with others. But like, personally, I definitely feel a release of pressure in my own head, of like, okay, I don't have to worry about this, I don't have to worry about that. Now where my mind is going is more along the lines of like, okay, it's time to bring a little bit more execution into the mundane activities. I was actually having dreams about making some of the TikToks that I used to make back in the day with my didgeridoo, where I blast people that have suck ass energy, and that was exciting. So anyway, if you feel the pressure, still, no worries. If you don't feel the pressure, No worries. Like again, this is not about proving human design. This is just about conversations between people about their experiences, and using again human design as a framework and a language that we can all play the same game, or we can all speak the same language. That's super helpful for communicating, obviously. I feel the pressure still because I have gate 63 and 64. Seba, we will pray for you. Hopefully, like, did you learn anything about 63 and 64 by watching other people being subjected to that same pressure that you're subjected to? That's something I'm curious. Luke, I'm feeling less head pressure, rather my usual head and root. That's what's up. That's what's up. Anyone else feeling the release of tension, or maybe you still have the pressure in your head that you're still feeling? I've made so what do you call it for these as well? The characters as gates. I've made them. I'm gonna add the context to them. Let's see. I've noticed the pressure release once I get into my right environment today. Yeah, it makes sense. It's really important to know your environment. Really, really important, especially for like resetting the energy. That's a good point there. It's kind of funny to me to hear people speak of things I always feel. It's like no big deal to me, which feels good because you don't realize how far you've come until sometimes you see others struggle with what you're used to. Awesome. I was hoping you'd share something along those lines, Seba. And that's kind of the point of it. It's like we all have these genetics in our body, but um, for those of us that have them defined, those genetics are more in resonance, more online, more present. There's a starker contrast, and so we experience them more, right? It doesn't mean we don't have them. And so when people like myself who do not have 64 and 63 are able to experience the 64 and 63 and not make rash decisions based off of that pressure because we're aware of the transit movings, that's like huge. Because I remember back, there'd be maybe like 3-4 weeks out of the year that I would just have this crazy pressure, and it would make me do like crazy stuff, like announce projects and say that I was going to leave a certain situation. And now being able to do some reflection, I'm like, oh man, that was probably just a lot of like head nausea that was just creating a lot of pressure in mind stuff. No Name is moving into a new phase of their life. They haven't been keeping up with the transits, but there's definitely less pressure about the future in general because some things are clearer now. Yeah, and so again, learning that there is a place for outer authority, right? There is a place for confusion and doubt and this all this mind stuff. It's just not necessarily in making decisions, which may sound a little bit ridiculous, but especially because I was taught to make decisions with my mind, make smart decisions, which goes against my authority, which is really make lunar decisions, make decisions based on the moon and based off other people's movements. But the confusion, once it clears, or the doubt, once there's conviction on the other side, I used to say this thing a lot, was like, I love skeptics because on the other side of skepticism is conviction. And I love confusion because on the other side of confusion is clarity. And if you could just imagine what a world would be like if there was no confusion and there was no doubt, if there was no mental pressure to know anything. And it's just like I feel like people, even if they have that head pressure, they live that way. They live as if there's nothing to know. They live as if there's nothing inspiring in the world. And to me, that's a very limited existence, especially in the way of like to avoid at all costs doubt, to avoid confusion at all costs, even your own happiness. No fun. As a 1-3, doubt is my best friend. That's right. That's what charges the one up, is this suspicion, right? This I don't necessarily trust that, which you see with all the odd numbers. There's lack of trust, and with the even numbers, there's like I guess the exploration of trust. I don't know if you call it that, but it's the embodiment of trust. The second line is like trusting that hermitude is the right way and that it will be invited out when it's time. The fourth line is trusting its network. The sixth line is trusting the process. And so for us odd folk, there's a sharpness and a doubt and a suspicion that balances out the even folk who are more embracing and more trusting, I feel like. Which that would be I'm gonna make that a poll in the general. See if people agree with that. All right, guys. I'm going to close my book and I'm going to do some other work. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be transiting into the next line in probably like less than like 4 to 5 hours. So the time that the transits are happening are getting, at least for us, earlier and earlier. I mean, for everyone, earlier and earlier in the day. And so just being mindful of that. Again, it's not like a solar thing, right? When the sun goes down or when the sun comes up, it's a different clock. It's a longer, more complex rhythm than we're used to. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to keep the lo-fi radio going here as I work. And mahalo. Maybe I'll see you this afternoon when we shift transits. Perhaps it will be the following morning. But either way, love you guys and peace.